Hi everyone, it's Patricia again, and welcome back to our channel. What we're going to be doing today is learning about Canadian Thanksgiving. So Canadian Thanksgiving is going to be coming up this Monday on October 12th this year. And so what I have is a list of different facts. Some are true, some are false. So what you want to do is guess if those facts are true or not. And then after a couple of seconds, I'll give it away and give you a little fact about it. Let's begin. So for our first fact, it says, Canadian Thanksgiving is a statutory or public holiday throughout all of Canada. What do you think about that? Do you think that's true or false? One of the public holidays might be something like Christmas, where everyone has it off. Do you think Thanksgiving Day in Canada is one of those? The answer is actually false. It says in the Atlantic provinces of Newfoundland, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, the holiday is actually optional there. So on to our next fact. It says Canadian Thanksgiving is celebrated every year on the second Monday in October. Do you think that's true or false? So it's going to happen this year on October 12th, which is on a Monday. Do you think it's always on October 12th or always on the second Monday? Is October 12th the second Monday this year? It is. So the answer is true. So officially celebrated since 1897, the second Monday in October became the observed day back in 1957. For the next fact, it says Canadian Thanksgiving was first celebrated between the Pilgrims and Native Americans. Is that true or false? This is false. It says Pilgrims and Native Americans celebrated Thanksgiving together in the United States, as it's taught. Next one says certain cities in the United States hold fall festivals on this date to entice Canadian tourists to attend. Do you think that's true or false? So this is true. It says Ellicottville, New York is one example. So there's a lot of people in that area who are from Canada, and so they hold a fall festival right around this weekend to celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving. The next fact says Canada celebrated Thanksgiving before the Pilgrims did in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Do you think that's true or false? Which of those Thanksgivings came first? So this one is actually true. It says a small group of settlers led by explorer Martin Frobisher gave thanks in 1578 after landing in the current territory of Nunavut. The Plymouth festivities did not occur until 1621. So for the next fact, it says every year the holiday is celebrated to give thanks to King Edward VI's recovery from a serious illness in 1872. Do you think that's true or false? This one is false. Although King Edward VI, who was still the Prince of Wales in 1872, did recover from a severe illness and all of Canada celebrated the event the same year, the holiday is annually celebrated to give thanks for the nation's fruitful harvest. So although that did happen, the real reason they celebrate their Canadian Thanksgiving is to give thanks about the harvest. Next fact. Canadians' favorite pastime on Thanksgiving is watching football. Is that true or false? What do you think? This one happens to be true. The Canadian Football League holds a doubleheader. The Thanksgiving Day Classic is one of only 2 times each year that the league plays on a Monday. The other time is the Labor Day Classic. For the next fact, the traditional Thanksgiving meal across the country includes corned beef and cabbage. Do you think that's true or false? I know my family usually has corned beef and cabbage right around St. Patrick's Day. Do you think they have this for Canadian Thanksgiving? So it says that's false. It says typically included only on the tables of the Newfoundland Territory. So it can be found on some people's tables, but it's not a staple for all of Canada on Canadian Thanksgiving. So kind of going into more food, the next fact says, similar to their American neighbors, turkey and stuffing are part of the traditional Thanksgiving menu. What do you think about that? Is that true or false? It says true. It says Brussels sprouts, squash, mashed potatoes, and cranberry sauce are regular favorites as well. Do any of those meals sound familiar to what you might find on your table for Thanksgiving? So the next fact, it says, the traditional dessert is always blackberry pie. Do you think that's true or false? What are some other desserts that you might eat? Or maybe a different pie? So that one was false. It says pumpkin pie is the dessert of choice at Thanksgiving, similar to what you'd find on the table of many Americans during their Thanksgiving in November. All these questions on food are making me hungry. The next one, it says, baked ham and apple pie are commonly served as well. Do you think those are some of the foods you might find on a table at Canadian Thanksgiving? That one is true. It says every region has preferred dishes included on the menu. Baked ham and apple pie happen to be some of those. The next fact. Nanaimo bars are a regional dessert from the Yukon Territory, often served at Thanksgiving. Do you think that's true or false? Those bars don't require baking. They have a wafer bottom, a custardy icing in the middle, and then a ganache chocolate on the top. It's 3 layers. Do you think that's one of their staple desserts? And so that was false. Those bars actually come from the British Columbia region, named after the city by the same name in Vancouver Island. So it's not in the Yukon Territory where it's a staple dessert. The next fact. Watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is a favorite event of many celebrating Canadian Thanksgiving. Do you think that's true or false? Have you watched the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? Or maybe been to it? So that happens on the American Thanksgiving Day. So this one is false. It says the parade is televised every year from the Kitchener-Waterloo Oktoberfest in Ontario. So do you think that parade is televised throughout Canada on C-SPAN every year? Have you heard of C-SPAN? Do you remember what that might be? So this is false. It says CTV broadcasts the parade every year, not C-SPAN. On to our next fact. It says, in Quebec, Thanksgiving is called Action de Grâce. Do you think that's true or false? Is Canadian Thanksgiving called Action de Grâce in Quebec? This is true. Quebec is a French-speaking region, and so they do call it this, and it says the literal translation is Action of Grace. So that Canadian Thanksgiving is always on the second Monday. So this next fact says, many families in Canada have their Thanksgiving feast during the week rather than on Monday. Do you think that's true or false? This one is true. It says this is especially true in the territories that are not given Thanksgiving as a statutory or public holiday. Let's see the next fact. The number of calories consumed in an average Thanksgiving meal is 1,000. Is that true or false? If you think it's false, do you think it's less or more? The answer is false. It says, according to many sources, the meal can exceed 2,700 calories depending on the side dishes and dessert. On to the next fact. One reason Canada celebrates Thanksgiving in October is that its harvest comes earlier than in the United States. Do you think that's true or false? This answer is true. The further north you are on Earth, the colder the weather gets, which causes the harvest to come sooner. So that's partially why they celebrate it in October instead of November like we would. The next fact, it says butter tarts are a favorite dessert originating in Ontario. Do you think that's true or false? Have you had a butter tart? This is true. The earliest known recipe was published in Ontario. On to our next fact, and our last one. It says, for 10 years, Thanksgiving Day and Armistice Day were celebrated on the same date. Do you think that was true or false, that they had two of those holidays on the same date? This was true. It says the dual holiday occurred for the 10 years from 1921 till 1931, when Armistice Day's name was changed to Remembrance Day. So that's it for our facts today about Canadian Thanksgiving. Thank you for playing this true-false game with me. And so if you're celebrating this weekend for it, if you've been to Canada, if you're from there, if you have family there, I hope you have a safe holiday, and we'll see you again for our next videos. Bye!